an expectation. I think we might be able to get to the point today, subject. And my goal is to any questions are done hopefully today, get final comments to us so that we can produce for the board a red line that is very clear about what the changes are. We'll do that. We'll also have a draft template, a final version of it. And the goal is for the board to vote on the template at the next board meeting in April. Then adopt a resolution approving the template.
So the schedule would be at our April meeting, we will hopefully be able to complete the final template. May meeting, we would do a public
Correct.
discussion or meeting.
Right.
And then we'd be able to approve hopefully by our June meeting. So,
right.
Okay.
Right.
Everybody good with any questions or concerns?
No, I like that because there's several memos and different conversations. And as much time as I've already spent on it, I definitely need more time to really delve into it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can suggest some of the memos that you want to make sure you have considered in there. There's certainly in the packet now, several of them. They're Matt Knutson's email of March 13th, Stan Powell's memo of March 17th, a joint memo with Matt and Stan of March 19th, I think begins to fill out the comment time. But any other information that you need or want or questions that you have, we can pose and dispose of whatever might be needing to be talked about now. But as far as we're concerned, we will have a red line to the advisory committee before their April meeting and hopefully their approval of the draft template that will be put up for your approval in the April board meeting.
And I know there was a discussion at the advisory committee meeting about AVAC's comments and Stan's comments, and then Stan and Matt got together and did a joint memorandum, and you have that.
Yes.
Now. Is there any further discussion we need to do about any of that? Or?
I'm open to whatever the board may want to pursue in terms of question.
Okay. Anything? I think the process is working out very well. We're moving ahead. Matt, do you have anything to add?
No.
And Stan, do you have anything to add? If you're there, Stan?
Nothing to add. I think that was a good summary by Craig. Thank you.
Oh, okay, great. Well, very good. Anything from the public?
I have a comment.
Please, Caroline.
Yeah. So, I want to make sure that we have clear timing. So obviously not only the advisory committee, but others may have reaction to the memos that were brought forth. And I appreciate council trying to get a red line out prior to the advisory committee. So if members of the public or agencies wanted to respond or provide input to those memos or information that's already been shared with the board, you would hope to receive it when? Make sure that everybody understands what the best timing would be to get further comment to council, so that council can in fact have a more comprehensive red line going to the advisory committee.
I would say getting into the AC before.
All agenda items to ensure they're in the advisory committee packet need to be received by the 8th. But I'm also that would need to go to Craig much sooner so you can integrate those comments into the revised template.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's an important time frame to note.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? Anything from the public? Very good. Moving on to item 9, consideration possible action on new production application. And this is going to be Martin. Joe?
Hi,
You
good
there?
morning. Yes.
Mhm.
So our first application today is for Mr. Ismalian. And this is for 0.7 acre feet per year of new production. He has, this is for a proposed single family home with 800 square feet of landscaping in the southeast sub area. And this, we found the potential for material injury to be negligible, and there was a unanimous recommendation for approval by the advisory committee. Any questions?
Any questions on item 9A? None?
No,
Okay, is there a motion to approve resolution R 2615?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Angelica, second
Second.
by Carolina. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve resolution R 2615, say aye. All opposed, motion's carried unanimously. We're on item B.
All right, this is another new production application for Mr. Garcia. And he's proposing, it's actually 2 single family homes with 800 square feet of landscaping. And this is in the eastern corner of the Central Antelope subarea. And this also, we found the potential for material injury to be negligible. And the advisory committee also unanimously recommended this application for approval. Any questions?
Any questions on item B?
no,
No questions. Is there a motion to approve resolution R 2616?
motion?
Motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Derek. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve resolution R 2616, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion's carried unanimously. We're on item 10, consideration possible action on transfer applications. Arden?
Alrighty, yes. So we have these 2 transfer applications today. And both of these, the transferee is Bothing Treeland Farms. So the information about the party in the first application is also applicable to the second one. So the first one is for 151.54 acre feet of carryover water from the estate of Eugene B. Nebeker. And so Bothing Treeland Farms is both a small pumper and a new production party. They're in the southeast Antelope sub area. And they were requested after, over pumping for several years to become a new production party with 300 acre feet per year. And they pay replacement water assessments for all of their production except for the 3 acre feet per year from their small pumper right. And between 2016 and 2025, their production has ranged from 221 to 387 acre feet per year. But their production, really since becoming a new production party, has been between 200 and 300 acre feet per year. And overall, their production has decreased through time down to about 230 acre feet per year. So this first application, this one-time application would be to cover the replacement water assessment for much of their 2025 production. And so we found the potential material injury to be low. Or for this application to be negligible. We have monitoring wells, several ones very close to Bothing Treeland Farms property. And we see that with their production through time, the water levels have been stable, or for the wells very close to them to the north, slightly declining, but at a very slow rate. And the advisory committee unanimously recommended this application for approval. Do y'all have any questions?
Any questions? Any questions from the public?
Where would the wells to the north be declining?
Arden, Julie Kyle asked, where are the wells to the north declining?
Let me pull up the application real quick so I can, okay, so one of them is just adjacent to the northern boundary of the property. You can see an outcrop to the north, the Lovejoy Buttes. And this is an area with pretty shallow bedrock. And so we do see that since 2020, the water level adjacent to the property, the water levels have dropped probably about a total of 10 feet from 2020 to 2025. However, if we look at production in about 2023 to 2025, I don't have the exact number, but it's probably been a total of about 2 feet. So really the recent years, the declines have been minimal. And then we see a parcel a little bit, about half a mile to the northeast. The hydrograph on figure 2 shows USGS 95201. And we see from 2020 to 2025, the decline has been about 5 feet. About 5 feet total over those years.
That's because this is the one that they had a little bit of discussion in the advisory committee meeting, noting that this gives them a total of 530 acre feet available. So
That'll be the next one.
That's the next one.
oh, I'm sorry.
This is just a very override.
I'm sorry.
You're okay. We'll just lead right into that. Julie, go ahead.
It was just surprising to me to hear of a drop because, Retlaw used to own that property and Bolthouse owns the farm adjacent to it. And that is a river off of Big Rock Creek that is fantastic water. So it shocks me that would, at this point, have you noticed any kind of a drop?
We have not. No.
I wouldn't think so.
No, I mean.
One of the best water places
in the valley.
In the valley
It
is right there. So to even think there's any, it's surprising to me.
And I don't think there's been more pumping going on there. So kind of
Yeah.
materially what's going on there to
That's,
call that out.
that's odd to me.
Right.
Thank you.
Good question, Julie.
I had 10 in my head. It is 10, but the second part is 10.
Got it. Any other questions about that?
I guess going back to the engineer is that feedback is based upon historical. Julie's point, it's either alarming or confusing. I'm not sure which one. It's one or the other, and would like a better feedback on kind of what's going on in that area that would have you call that out.
Arden, do you have any more comments on that?
I would say in this area, looking at the hydrographs on figure 2, the decline does not, I do not see this as a big concern because the water levels that we have seen over the past 3 years are not outside of the range of what water levels have been in this area prior to the adjudication. We see on hydrograph 95201.
Can you refer to us what page you're referring to when you?
Yes. Look.
I have 116.
So that's page of the PDF. It's listed as 117 for the page number, and then in Adobe it's 119.
Okay.
And so they're not significant declines. For the one in the top, the hydrograph shown in the top right corner, we see that the levels currently are about what they were in 2005. And then for USGS well 01601, the static water levels are in between the fluctuations that we've seen in the past. Our historical concentrations do seem to reflect local pumping, so it's a little bit hard to tell what the static levels were at that time. But overall, it's a low decline. And if the decline continues, it's unlikely to really cause material injury to the nearby wells, which we don't see many. If you look at the next figure on figure 3, there aren't small pumpers or nearby wells to the north of the parcel. And then we see where the wells are to the south of the parcel. The water levels have been stable after pretty dramatic increases from 2005 to 2010.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, just a comment there, digging into that hydrograph chart it's a bit weird, especially if you look at that 2005 where some go down dramatically and some go up dramatically. If these if somebody's actually gone out and checked on these and make sure they're accurate, these are pretty static since then. I mean, a little decrease in some and a little upward tick in others. So. And I know these are the USGS, not the actual pumping wells.
okay, good discussion. The only thing I would add is that it's always good to see carryover water and production water leaving the central basin and going into other basins that are in better shape. So I think that's a positive thing.
Can I make a quick comment?
Sure, Craig.
These parties involved in these actions and this transfer and the next one are heavy users of Watermaster's resources. I just wanted to check with Angel and she confirmed, and I think we need to keep it in mind that when people ask us for work and services to do, that they be paid up and not delinquent. And she confirmed that they are paid up, all the parties are, but I think it's important to remember that sometimes we start into these applications and don't ask first if they're on a delinquent pay list. So
Good
staff
point.
is doing their job.
Excellent. And Angel, I'm assuming you're looking at that every time
Yes,
something
yes.
like this comes up. Great.
Yes, I am.
And letting Arden know.
Yes. Well, I just kind of hold the application, reach out to the applicant.
Good job.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so we're on 10A R2617. We need a motion to approve resolution R2617.
So moved.
Moved by Carolina. Second by
I'll second.
Derek. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve resolution R2617, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. We're on item B, resolution R2618.
Thank you. So this application is also involving Bothing Treeland Farms, and this is a permanent transfer of 230 acre feet per year from Tierra Bonita. And Tierra Bonita is located in the Central Antelope subarea. And so this is a transfer that is moving from the Central Antelope subarea to the subsidence, or from the subsidence risk area into the Southeast Antelope subarea where there's not a risk of subsidence. One of the concerns that were raised in the advisory committee is that they wanted to make sure that, they have this 300 acre foot per year new production right, and this would be an exhibit for 230 acre foot per year exhibit for production right on top of that. And so the question was, did we do the material injury for 530 acre feet per year? Do we need to do that? And so Angel and I talked with we talked together and talked with the applicant. And essentially, this application would make both in Treeland Farms an Exhibit 4 party. They would have 230 acre feet per year of that Exhibit 4 right, an additional 3 acre feet per year of the small pumper right, and any production that they produced more than that as an Exhibit 4 party, they could pay replacement water assessments for. And so we thought that it would be appropriate to request that both in Treeland Farms rescinds their new production right upon the approval of this. And they responded with an email clarifying that if the Watermaster requests that they do this, they would rescind their new production right, as long as it's okay for them to continue to produce, between 200 and 300 acre feet per year, and any production above the 233 acre feet per year combined Exhibit 4 and small pumper right, they would either pay a replacement water assessment, receive a transfer, or use any carryover water that they've accrued to cover that. And our material injury analysis was really assuming that they're going to be continuing to produce what they've historically been producing, and in that 200 to 300 acre foot per year production. And we found a low risk of material injury, and that this is a positive transfer, moving the water away from the central Antelope subarea. And so with that, I am happy to take any questions, and am interested in the board's response to if the agreement to rescind their new production right helps resolve some of these concerns.
Okay, thank you, Arden. Discussion? Any? Angel, what are your thoughts?
Dan Powell does have a question.
Okay, let me have Angel go first.
I did meet with Arden, and I do agree with her recommendation of the applicant rescinding their new production right now that they're an Exhibit 4 producer. And they have always received transfers to satisfy their replacement water obligation. And I believe if they pump over the production right of 233 acre feet, they will go ahead and try to find another transfer in the future, like they've done in the past.
Okay, great. Thank you. Stan, you have a comment?
Yes, I did. One suggestion I'd make.
Stan, you're a little bit low. If you could speak a little bit.
Is this better?
I think so. Go ahead.
Yeah, my one suggestion is perhaps rather than simply rescinding the entire new production right they have, to rescind it down to 70 acre feet rather than 300. So then the applicant is covered if they, rather than having to do replacement water because they don't have any right, that they reduce their new production right to the level that they can pump up to 300 acre feet, and they can be comfortable in knowing that. So that's my suggestion.
Okay, and Arden, your comment on that?
From an accounting perspective, it doesn't really make a difference. From my perspective, I think it's more of a legal and board question.
This is Andrew Homer for the transferee. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Andrew, go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and thank you for the comments, Dan. We, from our perspective, we agree it doesn't really make much of a difference. Our intent is to produce, in line with what we were producing over the last several years. There's no plan to increase that. We like having the flexibility to go up to 300, but I don't know, given the analysis and conclusion from the Watermaster engineer and staff that we will essentially be becoming a Exhibit 4 party by acquiring this 230 acre foot permanent right, that we need that. Other Exhibit 4 parties don't have new production applications that authorize their pumping in excess of right. So I don't know why we would. need that. But again, I don't think it makes a difference from our perspective. We're happy to leave it in place, just limited to 70 acre feet. We never plan to go over 300. And if that gives comfort, then we're okay with that. I just don't know if it's I don't want to create some legal defect or strange precedent here that comes back around in future years to haunt us or someone else.
Thank you, Andrew.
This is Stan Powell. Can I add one comment to that?
Yeah, Stan, go ahead.
So I've had this discussion with others. Andrew is correct that language in the judgment says those of us with Exhibit 3 or Exhibit 4 rights, if we overpump, we simply pay replacement water assessments. But I have discussed with Craig in the past. I think that's a good mechanism if someone's doing this one time. But if someone in fact is just expanding the amount of pumping and they're willing to pay the replacement water assessments, I think those folks are going to have to go through the new production application process. And the reason is that is the process that gives the Watermaster authority to look at material injury on the expanded pumping. So that's why I personally think it's appropriate that they keep a new production application, but it's been right-sized to reflect the amount of pumping they intend to do. So I just wanted to clarify my comment. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Stan. And Derek, I think you had a comment.
I'm going to let council comment on that
Yeah.
first, and then I may have changed my comment a bit.
Yeah, I think ultimately it comes to an administrative decision of what's most consistent with our reporting requirements and what's the engineer's recommendation. We can do it either way. I'll admit, tell Stan that we could do it the way he just mentioned, and it has a benefit of triggering material injury analysis at the right point. So I can do it either way. I don't think there's a consequence that's detrimental of doing it either way. And I agree with Stan's comments. My main concern is doing a one-off situation for this application and the confusion that can bring to the administration of the basin going forward.
Right. So I'll probably lean into council, staff and engineer and their guidance for this. Appreciate Stan's feedback. I would say that, you have a party that's willing to withdraw that. They've sent in a memo, they've verbalized it today. They're willing to put it in writing. I think we follow that process and move forward.
I concur. I want to go with staff's recommendation, initial recommendation.
Okay, we're good. So Craig, just guide me. So staff's recommendation, we would just approve the resolution as it is.
Correct.
2618, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion? Good discussion, everybody. Is there a motion to approve resolution R2618?
I'll move.
Motion by Kathy.
Second.
Second by Angelica. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve resolution R2618, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion's carried unanimously. Now on the administrator's report, Angel,
Thank you, Rob.
you're welcome.
The first item I have today is just an update for the board. Staff did receive a written request from Melania 7 LLC, also known as Roseman Mobile Home Park, to relinquish their 21.70 acre feet per year permanent production right with the Watermaster. They have successfully connected to the Roseman Community Service District as part of a regional consolidation project. I think it's important to note that this party is classified as a non-stipulating party, therefore they have no rights to transfer their production. The well has been deactivated and staff did receive confirmation from the State Water Board. And talking with the engineer and legal, the engineer has confirmed that this is acceptable from an accounting perspective. And legal recommends that the board consider and formally accept this relinquishment at the April board meeting. Craig, do you have anything you'd like to add?
It's unusual. We haven't had this situation where a party wants to formally go on the record of relinquishing production right. But I think we should formally accept it, have it documented that that right has been relinquished. Whatever legal effect that has for them, they need to consider it, but they are connected up, already have their water connection situation taken care of. So they're, for whatever reason, wanting to dot the i's and cross the t's and have a formal relinquishment approval by the board.
So this is a first time I've ever heard
Yeah.
of this, so I just have a further question, and I might have missed what you said, Angel. Wouldn't they have a right, do they not have a right to transfer this?
Mm-mm.
And that's because of,
They're a non-stipulating party. So they have no right to transfer their production right. And so they no longer have a well.
if they were a stipulating party?
Yeah, if they were Exhibit 4, they'd be able to transfer their right. But they're listed on the non-stipulating party list. And also they receive an invoice each year for their fixed assessment. And they are also requesting that we adjust the 2026 fixed administrative assessment invoice to 0 if the board approves this.
And so this just comes back to the basin, basically.
Yes.
So I'll just say very briefly, my experience with relinquishment requests is that the party is concerned that they have a liability associated with keeping formally a production right, at least on paper. I have no information that they're relinquishing to the Watermaster liability here, but that's where I've had contact with the concept of a relinquishment. So,
And it could just be cost and administrative that they
Yeah.
just don't want to.
right.
Yeah, they don't
I
want to
think
have
this
that.
is
burden.
economic.
Yeah.
I mean, for Angel, from your point, but you do get my hair up on the back a little bit there. Craig, when you say legal, liability of, not, can you elaborate that a bit just from your past history?
Contamination. If the water is contaminated for some reason, the parties sometimes want to do as much as they can to shift responsibility going forward to another entity or somebody who has the resources and responsibility to clean it up.
Comment, if you might.
Carolina?
So, and this is aside from this actual case, but I do want to mention that, and many of you probably already know that the state's very interested in consolidation of small water systems. And, since AB 552 has taken great strides and there's some monies associated with being able to do that. So public water suppliers are being approached quite often regarding, potential consolidation and those kinds of things. And that's a long and drawn out process, not for today. But I think I just want to mention that one of the discussions that at least LA County Waterworks District has had is that, on a one-to-one basis, these consolidations, may be fine. But when you start within the valley to look at a significant amount of consolidation, then you're really talking about a burden to that public water system. And this thought process of, where does that water supply come from becomes a larger burden. So on a one-to-one, for example, this is, 21, almost 22 acre feet a year. But when you start to do several, it becomes an issue. And that's one of the things that's been communicated to the state, is that really the state needs to start looking at that more holistically when they approach public water suppliers with that need for consolidation and working closely with the Watermaster. So that was something that at least we encouraged, that the state start talking to the Watermaster about things like this potentially happening. In a situation here where they're non-stipulating party, they can't transfer,
Yeah.
others might be different.
Yeah.
Okay, good comment.
And Rob, I did want to just mention too, that this isn't the first time we've been approached with the situation. Desert Breeze Mobile Home Park also thought they wanted to do something the same. They did connect to Roseman Community Service District, but they opted to keep their existing well and they use it for irrigation only. So they never followed through, but this is the first of this.
Interesting. So do we have to take any action right now, Craig, or
No.
Next meeting.
next meeting?
We'll have a
put this on?
resolution.
This is just a report of where we're at.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Okay, that's all I have to report on that. Looking at our Outlook calendar, we are currently collecting production reports. They were due March 1st. We are collecting the fixed assessments and we sent reminder notices to those that haven't paid yet. April, we plan to prepare and mail the replacement water and variable assessment invoices, assess the delinquent fixed assessments. There will be the sub-area management advisory committee meeting. We'll present our first quarter budget versus actual report. We'll also have the replacement water plan from the association for approval by the board and the draft audit report to the board for approval next month. So it'll be a heavy agenda.
We're gonna have a
That's
busy
it.
meeting.
Yeah, that's all I have to report. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, great. Questions for Angel?
I did. I know that, and I forgot who brought it up, but you know, about the top 10 delinquent list and enforcement budget allocations that we discussed. Is there an update on that?
Yeah, so I've been working with Craig and Cameron and we are actually putting together a plan and I believe Craig and Cameron will bring that at the April meeting. Is that the?
That is the idea.
Okay.
We have some enforcement issues in the closed session today.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, great. Good report, Angel.
Thank you.
So that brings us, okay, this picture is, Arden is a California water leader and Audrey Miller, Director Audrey Miller and I had the pleasure of going on the Southern Colorado River Tour with the Water Education Foundation with the California water leaders and the Colorado River water leaders. And so I just wanted to point out that Arden is doing an exceptional job for us, but in water world, she's very involved with the other water leaders throughout California and now the Colorado River Basin. And so we had a great trip. It was a 4-day tour. And Arden, I just want to report to you that I did make it to the headwaters of the Colorado River up at Grand Lake, and it was snowing. And where Arden and I are standing, it's probably about 95 degrees. Within 4 days, I was in the snow with the same river. So Arden, congratulations from all of us. And I just thought I would share this before your report.
Thank you so much. That is so sweet. And I had so much fun. I was so happy that you and Audrey were on that trip. That was such a happy surprise.
Well, it was a great trip. And for all of our water people here, I highly recommend the Water Foundation tours. They're incredible. It's learning through a fire hose though, unfortunately, but it just keeps coming. But Arden, congratulations on behalf of all of us. And now you can take over the Arden show.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to pull up my screen. And I just want to say that, you know, I'm just honored to get to work with y'all in Antelope Valley because y'all are leaders in California water with the work that you're doing and the incredible way that you build consensus and really are forward thinking about water banking and storage and conjunctive use and management in California.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. I am going to, okay, I think I have the wrong screen up real quick. All right, is everything clear, easy to see?
I don't think you've shared the screen yet. Hang on for 1 minute. We're getting technical assistance.
Okay.
There we are.
Okay. Wonderful.
Our
And
administrator
now-
do everything.
All
Go ahead,
clear? Okay, fantastic. So this is our summary of the new production and qualified small pumpers. We had a 3.3 acre foot per year increase with new production from the last meeting. And I will note that if Bothing Treeland Farms new production is rescinded, then there would be a decrease for that total approved new production anticipated for the next meeting. Any questions about this?
Any questions?
No?
Nope.
No.
Go ahead.
All right. On to the next one. Just an update about the Willow Springs storage agreement. No big updates since the beginning of the month. We provided a memo to them with our feedback of their proposed scenarios for the storage agreement. So we're still in communication, and hopefully internally we'll be having some model results soon from them to understand the volume of anticipated storage and recovery that is feasible for that geologic setting. Any questions about this?
Any questions, board? Public? None. Thanks.
Great. And then it is annual report season. So earlier this month, we had sent out a data request to several of the agencies who regularly provide water level data for us. So thank you to the folks who have gotten information back to us. We, as Angel mentioned, the annual production reports from all of the parties are due to the Watermaster. And not only does it make Angel's life easier to get those in on time, but it also makes our lives much easier, because the more that, you know, we can get all of those data together, we can do the database upload in one swoop and save time and money for the Watermaster. We're also going to be sending out specific agency-specific questions in the next week. And this is typical with every annual report, just about specifics of storage and surface water use. And we'll also, before the end of the month, submit a letter to DWR. We do this each year, that we just let them know the total change in storage and annual reporting for each basin is due on April 1st. And that deadline aligns with all of the parties who are managing their water under Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. But because we're an adjudicated basin, we use the calendar year instead of the water year. And so our deadline is August 1st. So we submit a letter so there aren't any flags that our submittal is late, just letting them know we submit this on August 1st in accordance with the judgment. So we will submit that. And then looking forward, in April, we have our internal data deadline for the water level data that we sent out the info for. By May, in accordance with the rules and regulations, we get the variable assessment values to the Watermaster admin staff, and we get our water accounting posted on May 1st. And so that's the information with how much carryover each party has available for use in the year. And once again, another incentive for parties to get their reporting into the Watermaster on time. On May 27th, we're going to be presenting preliminary results for the annual report. And I'm planning to come in person for that presentation and for that meeting. And then June 8th, we're planning to have our draft annual report posted. And then another presentation and public comment on June 24th. And then we'll get all of that feedback and have our revised draft posted. and one last opportunity for any last minute comments or suggestions with the public comment and presentation and vote to approve on July 21st. And then the finish line, August 1st, is our deadline to DWR in the court. So that's the schedule in a whirlwind. Do y'all have any specific questions about it?
Art, and this is Rob, most important. What meeting are you coming to, and when do we need to have our board and staff photo taken by?
Yes, the May meeting is picture day.
May meeting is picture day, so if everybody could put that on their agenda. So the May meeting is going to be the May 27th meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so would really like to have all the board, all the staff, and our alternates present for that date. If you can put it on your calendar, we will take our formal report picture that day. And Angel, if you could remind us and put that on your report going forward. Further.
Really, this is from the content or structure of past years. Last year was a pretty big year with our introduction of our water budget section, and we received some pretty good feedback about some areas that the board and the public wanted a little bit more information on that we'll be incorporating. But beyond that, the main tables, figures will be updated for the year, but nothing particularly new is going to be in this annual report. Any questions about that?
Any questions for our board, public? Nope. Go ahead.
Okay, and then our last brief report. We don't have big updates on the reporting app. We're going to be hoping sooner to be reaching out to parties who could be good trial users, but just a reminder that annual production should still be reported to Angel, and the deadline has passed. So once again, everyone get their annual production reports in. And that sums up the Watermaster Engineer report.
And Arden, is Julie using the app yet?
Not yet. We still need to get it out
to
to
ask
folks.
Julie to be one of your beta testers.
Our enthusiastic
Great.
technology
Okay, thank you.
adopters. Thank you.
Good report, and that brings us to the general counsel's report.
Yes,
Greg?
two matters outside of closed session that I can update you on. One is the legislature passed Senate Bill 707, which has some impact on the Brown Act. As you know, we are not a legislative arm that has Brown Act duties, but we have agreed to be bound by the Brown Act pursuant to the judgment. So we've reviewed 707 for any changes that we may need to incorporate here as a board. I think most of it is not applicable to how we operate. It's on teleconferencing and other such things. But we do have to provide you a complete and full copy of the current version of the Brown Act. So, and I need to make sure that you've all received it, so you'll be getting it. And it in general is not deal with issues that we have in front of us. So that's the update on that. The second thing is a matter of public record. We have heard from the California Supreme Court unanimously that they rejected the Zamalza's petition for hearing. And I wanted to make sure that was a public record matter that the board was aware of. Other than that, there's 8 litigation or potential.
Derek had a
Oh,
question.
I'm
A quick question. Is that the last option they have?
I'm going to answer that in closed session. So, The other matters are individual potential litigation matters we'll discuss in closed session. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Craig. That brings us to future agenda items. Future agenda items, anyone?
Nope.
We're good? We're good. And then is there a motion to go into closed session? Motion by Kathy, second by Carolina, with a shake of the head.
Yep.
Is there any discussion? All in favor of going into closed session?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Why don't we start at 11:05? That gives us a 9-minute break.
Okay, we can do that.
Not quite consistent with California law, but we'll make it happen.
This again.
Thank you, everybody, for attending.
It is. It is.
Yes.
If I can get in here, I get it. I think that's what, because there's always.
Bye, Jay.
Yeah,
I think that's what's.
my thing is water in, right? And right, that's west way. Right. But really, like gas.
You know how to do this? So I put
Somewhere out.
my signature there, but I have to put my name there.
Yeah, yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But to get it back out.
I did it, but it
You want to put it there.
just copy.
And it's also this field. Nursery normally.
Okay.
And then area.
To just keep that.
I copied it and I did it and then I had the
We are the five guys.
button, but then I did that, but it went A T A R.
It's no big deal.
A C and then
Yeah.
A.
Oh, rock action.
See, like, this is what.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, so that.
E N.
And then.
Yeah, and I hit that, but I don't think that it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I hit that, I don't know, did it send it? Did it send it to you?
Just want to reply to.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, regardless of what they all say.
Very second. You've got to be sure to decide.
It went.
Great job.
Yeah. They're like, oh,
That's right. Yeah, he says, okay. Right. They're working.
No, that's okay. Okay. So it should show in sent, right? See.
No problem.
Yeah, it's.
So I'm trying to
Here with Rose Moss.
stirring up the shit.
What's he doing at home? I'm staying out here. Well, you didn't give it to her.
It gives to a fact, give it to her, but now, but what them are doing is very to put Cynthia in.
Yes.
So what happens now? Very important.
Good friends with your
Whether we
you know what I'm
get.
saying? So basically,
Compensation
bring it up, yeah.
for that, sure. What transforms you? And set it up
For that. He's not for nothing. I think so.
Yeah, because
So that's gonna be a very.
Just told them.
Yeah, so-
Both parts.
But now.
Your part and our part.
So that's. I
think
think
that's why I
very much there for
A little bit.
Wow.
They've been wanting to get rid of these for 30 years.
He's not supporting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, you know, there's still. But they made it harder with recent graduation and so we are.
It's just so. He's just like, yeah,
Allow them. Stay independent, not consolidation.
it's really playing crazy.
And they're.
I know, but.
Again, those ones have to come from them. Our rate here can't pay.
And they let us.
The worst.
That's what you mean.
That's that too. People. Third one, I think, said-
Okay, we'll ask about that. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
You got some.
Oh, no,
You got some.